When the dumbest people try to control you, what does that mean? That means, I did a video on this before, where the dumbest people are the people that are trying to control you. The dumbest people are usually the people that are politicians, that are in politics, that kind of stuff. Why do I say that? Well, first of all, listen to them, and then listen to them again. And then if you want, listen to them a third time. They make no sense half the time. The other half the time, they're only saying what they feel people want to hear, because if they have a question on that, they're going to flip-flop. They're going to say the exact opposite. They're going to say whatever they think they need to appease the people, to set along an agenda, to get reelected, to get elected, that kind of stuff. That's usually the case. And that's not just an anomaly. That is, almost 100%. Almost. That's the case. But anyways, so they're usually the dumbest people. The dumbest people, take any of them, for the most part. And then broad brushing it, yeah, maybe we're talking about 1% or 0.5% of them, maybe even 1.5% politicians. Those are the people I'm not talking about. The other 99%, 98.5%, whatever the breakdown is, most of them, they could not change oil in a car. They could not, do any work on their house. They could not do any. If they have a leak somewhere, they cannot fix that plumbing-wise. They cannot fix anything electrical-wise. They couldn't even fix low-voltage stuff like a doorbell or stuff like that. They couldn't even run stuff, nowadays you don't have telephones, really, landlines, but they couldn't even do something like that. That's really basic, simple, low-voltage stuff, no harmful effects, that kind of deal. They couldn't probably figure out how to install a clothesline. They would like a clothesline. They couldn't figure out how to build a doghouse. Half of them, or maybe more than half of them, couldn't even really figure out how to go to a grocery store and go grocery shopping for the week for the household, their household. They couldn't figure it out. Why? Because they haven't had to. They've been pampered. They've been given everything. And then once they have everything, and they've had their college paid for, if that's where they go, and usually politicians, that's what you need, a law degree, I guess, most, they get done with that, and then what do? They don't go into the workforce. They don't go into, the private sort of corporations, the private businesses, they do not do that. They go right into some form of, running for mayor or local elections or that kind of stuff, and then shoot up to Congress, or we're going to be on the Senate, and their career end goal is Senate or president or something close to that. Why? Because they don't know how to do anything. They really don't. They know how to say what you and I should be doing, and I guess they don't make it up. They don't figure that stuff out. Usually they're told, and they're given that by their handlers, by the higher-ups. Not the president isn't the high-up. There's people above him. There's the Rothschild and the heads of the central banks, that kind of stuff. The people in the shadows, those are the people that control it for the most part. Those are the reason we've had wars, almost every war we've had. That's the reason. Why? Because war makes them richer. They don't care what side wins, as long as they're fighting. The banks, the central banks, and the people on the top are the ones that get richer. Just like this whole Fed thing, the Fed. So you can print money, or you can make these digits, create them, you lend them to the United States government. You lend them, so it's that instant that's created, then the United States government is paying interest on these digits or these paper dollars, because the Federal Reserve, created them, and now we're going to use them for commerce. So the federal government's like, well, okay, so now we have to pay interest on all this stuff also. Instead of doing it ourselves, like the last time something tried to happen with that was JFK, and we know what happened to him. soon after. It was within 6 months, even closer, even sooner than that. He's no longer with us, and he wasn't. They put a stop to that. Anyways, so we're paying interest on that kind of stuff. So those are the high-ups I'm talking about. It doesn't make sense. As long as you're going along and believing it, that's all I care about. So I'm talking about this, and I'm getting a little winded, but anyways, with the illegal mandates that were just passed down from this president, we talked about forcing compliance and forcing large companies and companies of 100 plus employees. Those are small. A lot of small businesses have 100 plus employees. The people will be fired if they do not go along and make sure they've got the jab or have a test, a weekly test, proving so that they are not, inoculated, or they're not infected, if that's what they want to call it. So it's going to affect 80 million people. It's flat out. It's going to affect 80 million people. Now, on a sidebar, it's going to affect those that allow it to affect them. Just think for a second. What happened if 80 million is just... What happens if 79 million people, 79 of them, 79 million, or even 80 million, all the people, 100%, say, no, ain't happening. We ain't going along. We're not going to do it. Sorry, ain't happening. You can talk, you can say all this stuff, but we're the majority here. It ain't happening. What happened then? Nothing would happen. Then these politicians and these people who think they have power would turn their back and do the walk of shame and put the tail between their legs. Because that's what they are. They're cowards. They don't know anything. They don't know how to create anything. They haven't done anything ever throughout their life. I mean, just imagine if all of these people, all of society that they call the useless eaters, all of society was gone, and all that's left are these top of the rung politicians, the ones talking and blabbing all the time. What happens if it was just them left? They would die before you knew it, because they can't do anything. They don't know how to survive by themselves. They don't know how to tell somebody to do something for them. They don't know how to tell somebody how to get something for them. They know how to tell somebody to fix something for them. That's it. They can't do anything for themselves. They're the real vulnerable ones here. They're the few. We're the many. So, I'm just going on a tangent here. So now, with this last 18, 19 months, I have not heard any talk, real talk, about health, about nutrition, about physical activity, what to do to better yourselves or your families. I guess physical and mental, spiritual, health overall. There's been no talk of that. And if there is, what do? They delete it. They censor it. They say, no, you don't do that. You take this. And what is this? This is Rockefeller medicine. If you look it up, before Rockefeller medicine, before all this stuff that came to, the norm was natural healing. The norm was how to heal yourself from the earth and from herbs and from plants and that kind of stuff, because that's what we were given. We're from the earth, and we can heal ourselves from the earth. There's exceptions to it, absolutely. I mean, what happens if you sever an arm? What happens if you have a major accident? You need life-saving major surgery. You need stuff like that. Yes, absolutely. But all this other stuff that they've been pushing for years, it's ridiculous. So there's been no talk about that. Well, you take this vitamin, take that vitamin, make sure you're exercising, make sure you're watching what you eat, make sure you're staying healthy, make sure you're interacting with people, make sure you're mentally on the level and you're not getting depressed, you're not getting bogged down, make sure you're going outside, make sure you're getting fresh air, make sure you're, There's been no talk of that. Why? Because that goes against what they want you to do. If you do that stuff, you're no longer needing them. You no longer need to do what they're peddling, need to do what they're selling, need to do what they're trying to shove down your throat. So the problem with that talk, the health talk, like I said, is Rockefeller medicine, for the most part, goes away. And then what happens? Well, the pharmaceutical companies and these huge entities that are all involved with all this health, if you want to call it stuff, they go away. They dry up. They go bankrupt. They don't want that. Absolutely they don't. Because that's the biggest thing here right now. Bigger than big oil. People talked about big oil for years. That's bigger. This is huge. So that's how the politicians get all this money and all this leverage and all this support is from pharmaceutical companies. I mean, way more than big oil, I said. Turn on your TV here in America. Turn it on. The commercials are inundated with pharmaceutical company stuff, propaganda, pushing all this medicine, they call it, all these drugs, pushing. And then if you really listen to it, it says all the side effects, not all the side effects, it says some side effects. Look into it, it broad brushes, the side effects. Why are those there? Well, those are there because I don't pick sides. Red, blue, RD, they're the same to me. Same bird, two wings. Two wings, same bird type of deal. But Bill Clinton put this in office, signed, so it was okay. It was legal to do this during his terms in the 90s. So that's why we have all this stuff. That's why it's allowed. We're one of two companies that allow these things. So they've been peddling this and pushing this stuff. And they want you to think that they know. But like I said in the beginning, they know nothing. You're smarter than them. Absolutely. Hands down, you're smarter than them. You know how to raise children. You know how to have a job, work in the private sector. You know how to build something. You know how to clean something. You know how to make stuff, survive and live and thrive. I'm not talking about people necessarily, but I'm talking about a creation, a family, relationships, that kind of stuff. They have no idea. They have no skills whatsoever. Nothing. They can say a few things and maybe make a few arguments, and half those are BS anyways, in my opinion. But they have handlers, and I even think most of the handlers aren't any brighter than them. They just have the power. They have the money. They have the power that you allow them to have. They have the money that they've stolen from you and I. That's it. So they're going forward with this, no matter what. I did a real quick video that talked about this thing I ran across that says this next 7 steps of what they're going to push, they're going to mandate, that kind of stuff. But they're going forward. They are. I mean, you can see it. If you turn on the television, the programming that they want you to be programmed with, if you turn that on and listen, you turn on the radio and listen, you talk to people who've been to college recently, or even high school or middle school, it's all propaganda. They're spewing out of their mouths. It's talking points. And it's propaganda, like I said. That's what they want. And they're going forward. They are going forward. They're like, it's now or never, is my opinion. This is what I feel. They're saying, it's now or never. We started this. This was our plan. We're doing this because we have these dates we need to meet in order to get to the ends, the end game. And the ends in the end game doesn't include you and I. Doesn't include our families. Doesn't include our friends. Doesn't include anyone we know. They don't give 2 cares about that. I was going to say something else, but they don't care about that. You and I, they don't. Period. So what are we to do about that? What are we going to do? What should be done? Well, I say we're doing it. I'm doing it. I hope you're doing it. We're doing it because no one else will. We are doing it. I said before, the best thing for yourself, to save yourself, is yourself. You. You are the one. I'm the one that helps me the most. Yes, other people help. Other people help you too. But you're the one that knows what's best for you. 99% of the time, if not 100. You are the one. So we're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing this thing. They're going forward. They're not going back. So there's no waiting around because they're not going to change their mind. They're not going to say, oh, no, we can't do this because it's not right or that kind of stuff, or they got a change of consciousness or their morals or worried about other people. It ain't happening. You can see what they've done throughout the years. I'm not talking days, weeks, months, a few years. I'm talking decades, multiple decades, 100 years, 200 years. What have they done? Take a look. It's pretty harsh. And it's pretty serious, the damage and the propaganda they've done to you and I, and the damage they've done to you and I, our families. And they didn't change. They just have gotten worse, in my opinion. So we're doing it. We're doing it. So what's that mean? These videos I talked about was making sure you're set. You're okay. You don't need them. If you don't need them, they can't tell you what to do because they have nothing to threaten you with. We'll shut off this. We won't allow you to do that. You can't do these things. You can't talk to these people. You won't have this. And if you're like, I'm self-sufficient, and they're self-sufficient, I don't need you. I need nothing from you, period. So you can't control me. You can't do anything. Can you send in some people who are morally corrupt that are on the police force, the law enforcement force, the law enforcers? They're no longer protect and serve. A lot of them. They're just enforcing these illegitimate banker laws. These are law enforcers, or threaten us with the National Guard, or threaten us with, one of the service, the Marines or the Army. They can try. Most of those people smarten up. They really wise up when they see a revolt. It doesn't have to be, anything other than not listening and no compliance. Just stop going along. They see a revolt like that. People start to think, well, yeah, this is the way. This is what's best for them. We need to abide by that because I have issues with that. I have issues with these banker laws. So I'm getting long-winded, whatever. Hopefully you didn't shut it off by now. So, Biden said, our patients are wearing thin. I wondered when I heard that a few days ago. Our patients. So who is our, or they? I guess they're one and the same. Who's that he's talking about? I say F him and them. F him and them. Our patients have worn thin. Yours and mine and everyone we know. Our patients have worn thin. It's been 18, 19 months. This is BS. Our patients are gone. We have no more patients to wear thin. So we're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing what's best for ourselves. And we don't give two craps on what they're doing and what they're pushing or what they're saying. Because they don't care. We're doing it. We are the ones we've been waiting for. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Anyways, I feel like I should have been a little more excited during this, but I'm just trying to keep it, down on a level. If you like this, hit the like, share, subscribe. As always, stay vigilant, protect yourself, family, protect your health, and protect your life.